So, Rockstar Games has given us a long overdue update for GTA Definitive Edition, and it's pretty cool. They fixed a lot of stuff. In fact, there's a very useful thread on Twitter made by VideoTech that summarizes a lot of these changes. It is nice to see Rockstar Games getting around to doing what they should have done before the games were released in the first place, but hey, better late than never, I suppose. But unfortunately, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. In fact, the studio behind Definitive Edition, Grove Street Games, formerly known as War Drum Studios, have become somewhat of a punching bag for the Rockstar Games community. On one hand, I get it, they did do a piss-poor job at developing Definitive Edition, but on the other hand, let's be real, they were doomed from the start. They were way too small of a studio and way too inexperienced, in my opinion, to take on the daunting task of remastering 3 massive games over the span of 2 years for a total of 8 different platforms. This is totally unrealistic. So I just have to point out that there's no way higher-ups at Rockstar Games had no idea this would happen. I've spoken to and corresponded with many former Rockstar devs over the years, and the common refrain that I've heard is that everything has to be approved by higher-ups, usually Rockstar New York. A project of this magnitude being assigned to a studio this small, there's no way nobody knew this would go awry. There's no way that the higher-ups at Rockstar Games did not know which way the wind was blowing on this one. They knew. They knew this would happen, and they threw this studio under the bus. And then when the entire fanbase, the entire Rockstar community turned on Grove Street Games, Rockstar Games simply cut ties with them. It was so bad that Rockstar, having just taken the original versions of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas off online stores, gave all Definitive Edition owners free digital copies of these games as part of their apology. With all that said, let's take a look at what the CEO of Grove Street Games, Thomas Williamson, has to say about the recent update for Definitive Edition.
Speaking entirely hypothetically, it's a dick move to remove primary developers from the credits in an update, especially when an update includes hundreds of fixes that were provided by those developers that stayed out of the players' hands for years.
Thomas, buddy, as much as I sympathize with you and your development studio, I do have some bones to pick with what you just said. First off, I don't think now is the time to make passive-aggressive comments on Twitter. In fact, I don't know when that's gonna be an appropriate thing to do, but it's definitely not now. You know, I actually appreciate your honesty. I really do, but I'm just gonna level with you and tell you that for your sake, this is a really bad look. Second of all, no names of any primary developer has been omitted from the credits. Unlike you, I actually went through the minimal effort of comparing the end credits 2 years ago versus today, and no, not a single name has been removed. 0. They are all still there, including your name. So why would the CEO of a video game development studio make such an unfounded claim? From what I can tell, this tweet was made after rumors started circulating about Grove Street Games being removed from the end credits. Okay, so a rumor. You, the big man, the big boss behind this studio, made this comment sans all evidence after you came across a rumor. So based on hearsay, you decided that it was a good idea to take to Twitter and call a former employer a bunch of dicks, or like describe their behavior as being that of somebody who's a dick. I think there's an important difference to note between you and me at this moment. See, I'm a loudmouth with a sizable audience on YouTube, and you are in charge of a team of employees. I feel like there's a pretty big difference in expectations there when it comes to decorum or how you conduct yourself on the internet when talking about previous employers. You don't do stuff like this and then expect to survive in the video game industry, or really any other industry for that matter. And I do want to point out that Rockstar Games did have enough consideration for you and your co-workers to leave your names listed in the credits despite having no obligation obligation to do so. And if your studio did contribute a lot to this update, then wouldn't the best course of action be to explain that to people? Maybe you could say something along the lines of, hey, I know some of you are not happy with us after the whole definitive edition situation, but I do want to point out that we actually did some of the fixes for the newest update. These games mean a lot to us, so we hope you enjoy the improvements. Oh, speaking of fixes, just like on a quick little aside, can we stop calling definitive edition fixed? And the reason I'm asking a lot of you to stop doing that is because as a community, we are implicitly giving Rockstar Games a pass when we say that these games have been fixed when they really haven't yet. It's on its way, like we're getting there, but until we get there, let's not celebrate. When I first saw this tweet, I expected this to be deleted, I expected there to be some sort of addendum or explanation as a follow-up. No. Instead, we got nothing. Thomas just wrote this and then left. Even when people like VideoTech on Twitter pointed out that he's wrong, he didn't say anything. He didn't do anything. He didn't remove the tweet in question. He didn't edit the tweet and then give like a little clarification at the bottom, like, oh, okay, well, just to be clear about this, here's what I meant. Nothing like that. You know this is gonna backfire. You know this is gonna make your entire team look bad. Again, I'm just a guy making videos about Rockstar Games, and that's really about it. And even I felt like it behooves me enough to look into the veracity of this claim before I make a video broadcasting my thoughts about it. Why am I, a YouTuber, more responsible than a CEO? Like, please help me make sense of that. If this was just one rogue developer saying something dumb, then I wouldn't be riffing on you this hard. Fact of the matter is, you're not just one developer. You are a leader of this team. Act like it. So, what else is shaking? What other shenanigans have Grove Street Games been up to as of late? Well, as it turns out, immediately after this update went live, they unfollowed Rockstar Games on Twitter. Ah, yeah, that'll show them. How dare they do something. To a certain extent, I feel bad for the folks at the studio. They in all likelihood realized at some point in development that this was gonna turn ugly, and there was nothing they could do. But at the same time, the way the head honcho and whoever's in charge of this account are acting is just embarrassing. You don't bite the hand that feeds, even if the said hand expected you to be able to run before you could walk. And you don't act like a petulant child on Twitter, making unfounded claims about a previous employer. It's incredibly unprofessional, and it makes it really difficult for anyone to defend you against anything, so just stop. And unlike Grove Street Games, Games Deluxe, the new developers behind Definitive Edition, have been nothing but grateful. Like I said, we still have quite a ways to go before we can honestly call these games fixed, but there's decent progress being made, and I do think that this is a very good first step. Hopefully we're gonna get more of these updates in the future, and on the off chance there's somebody from Games Deluxe watching this video right now, there's a link down below to a Twitter thread made by Ben. It's a wish list of problems in the games that still need to be fixed. So if you want to get some player feedback, I think that would be a good place to look. Anyway, that's it for this video. You folks, as always, stay classy, and don't badmouth former employers on social media. The fact that I have to explain that is astonishing to me. Peace. This is my Blue Sky account. You should follow it. And by should, I mean you have to. You will spontaneously combust if you don't follow my account on Blue Sky. It is a scientifically proven fact. Link down below and in the comments. Thanks.